it takes time to get to know one another, and it's not like all of a sudden you say, okay, now we're working together. That's definitely not how it went. There's this essentially a test phase where we both understand that, we're filling each other out and we have the best intentions, and, we're only engaging because we believe what this can be on the high level. But then it gets down to the nitty gritty of, well, when push comes to shove, are we on the same page, and how do we actually work together?
But it wasn't initially a commitment, hey, we're going to be co-founders forever and we're going to always work together and this is a big marriage. It was, hey, let's date for a while. Let's think about this as a contracting project. It has an end date. I'll help you build this prototype and I'll kind of at least get that out the door. And if that goes really well, let's keep working after that. If it doesn't, you've got a prototype out of it and we can go our separate ways and it's no big deal.
I've seen companies where people have equal ownership, and that, if you can make that work, that's great. But a lot of times when that doesn't work, it becomes a really sort of ugly situation because there's no one who sort of has to take control and has the opportunity.
I think one of the biggest challenges we have is really keeping everyone aligned and making sure that we all wanted to be there. And that wasn't always the case for us, and it's really been helpful in shaping how I view that going forward. I made a couple mistakes. I really gave them a lot of latitude. I kept them around. It was really driving a lot of the rest of the team nuts. They were very frustrated that this guy is here not pulling his weight. And probably maybe a little later than I should have pulled that chain, we ended up letting him go. But since then, it's been phenomenal.
I had actually just come out of a previous startup where I was an early employee. I wasn't a founder, but I was an early employee. And that startup had suffered a lot from fights among early founders. And we had not had the right legal structures in place. So in this startup, I knew really early on it was very important that everybody have a vesting cycle. So if a founder left after 6 months or a year, it was important, first and foremost, that they not walk away with 50% of the company. But actually what's more important about that is not how much of the company they leave with. It's that there's agreement on the table about what is going to happen if they leave early.
I think it's important to have that discussion. What happens if the company has to go separate ways. The most important thing you can do is set in those expectations, at least have that discussion with your co-founder in the early days.
The thing that I see in the successful startups is the roles are well defined, and the co-founder always looks at the other one and goes, I don't know how they do that. It's magic to me. And I have so much respect for it. It's amazing. Like, that's when I see it really work.